today we will be talking about digital arts. So, the content of this video is all about what is digital arts, brief history of digital arts, the benefits of digital arts, and the different types and samples of digital arts. So, just keep watching and listening until the end of the video. So, our topic is digital arts. Let's first discuss what digital art is. According to this, digital art is a general term for a range of artistic works and practices that use digital technology as an essential part of the creative presentation process. It is an art that is made with the help of a computer. It is a term applied to contemporary art that uses the methods of mass production or digital media. Simply saying, digital art is any art that were produced with the help of technology or the computer. Anything that we see, anything that we encounter, anything that art we encounter that is connected or produced with the help of a computer is called digital art. It brings art, technology, math, and science together. It is an artistic creation produced using digital technology. It is derived from the concept of traditional art forms but with the components of new technology. So, itong sinasabi nating digital art is para din yung mga traditional art like painting, sculpture, photography. Pero ang kinaibahan lang is gumamit tayo ng technology which is computer to produce this art, to produce digital art. It brings art, technology, and math and science together in a sense that we can produce digital arts without the math, without the help of science. So, art plus technology plus math and science equals digital art. Next is, we will be talking about the brief history of digital arts. So, imagine our life without a computer. Sobrang boring, di ba? Pero, noong 1950s, the first recorded computer was delivered during 1950. It is a life-changing to everyone. It is a big opportunity to change the lives of every people. During 1952, Mr. Ben Lapowski used an oscilloscope to manipulate electronic waves from a fluorescent screen. In the person of Mr. Lapowski, he attempted to use or create an electronic waves from the fluorescent screen or with the use of oscilloscope. He is trying to manipulate or create an art using oscilloscope. Parang nagtatry siya if pwede ba itong gawing, makaka-create ba ito ng electronic waves? Makaka-produce kaya ito ng electronic wave, which is yung electronic waves is an art. And in 1960, computers were very expensive in this year. Only research laboratories, universities, and large corporations could afford them. Regardless of these constraints, when the computer came into existence, that's when digital art started emerging. So, lahat naman ng bagay kapag bago pa lang is sobrang mahal, di ba? Kaya, yung mga nakaka-afford lang ng computer noong 1960 is yung mga research laboratories, mga universities, and mga large corporations. Pero regardless, dun sa problemang yun na sobrang mahal ng computer, is hindi natinag yung digital arts. Kasi, that's the beginning that the digital art started emerging. In 1970, other than artists with mathematics and scientific backgrounds joined the scene. They began to teach themselves to program rather than simply relying on computer programmers. So, hindi lang yung mga artists or yung mga computer programmers ang ang may talento sa digital arts, kundi yung mga mathematician at may scientific background din. Parang nagka-interest sila to join the digital arts world. And during this year, there is a first IBM computer produced and the first digital printer. So, ang parang nakakatawa dito is yung unang digital picture na na-print is asterisk. Imagine, napakalaking ambag pala ng asterisk sa history ng digital art. In this year, 1970, various names have been used to describe the process. So, parang hindi pa siya digital arts. Yung proseso, hindi pa siya digital arts. Merong nagsasabi na it is a multimedia art, computer art, or new media art. In 1980, the growth of digital age started in the 1980s. Computers were affordable and easily available the most. It is most commonly achieved by the use of layering techniques in image editing and paint software. So, dito na 1980, naging affordable na yung computer. Marami nang nakaka-afford, marami nang nakakabili. So, parang na-boost na siya, nag-grow na yung digital art during 1980. At the present time, art has clearly evolved and come a long way from mechanical devices and analog computers. It is a lot easier to be an artist or learn the skills. It only gets better and easier from here on. So hanggang ngayon is nagde-develop pa rin yung digital, yung art natin. Nasa digital world na tayo, so more on digital art na rin yung mga na-produce ng mga artists natin. Next, let's move to the benefits of digital arts. Hindi lang siya basta art, kundi meron tayong nakukuhang mga benefits. So, we will discuss the benefits na makukuha natin or nakukuha natin sa digital art. First, increased access. Not every people has a set of watercolors or acrylic paint set at home, but many of us have access to some type of technology device like an iPad or smartphones. Devices may not be cheap initially, but in comparison to all the consumable tubes of all paint an artist might buy in a year, the one-time technology purchase makes sense. Yes, technology breaks and needs replacing, but so do paintbrushes and canvases. Totoo naman, di ba? Kung gaano kamahal yung mga oil paint na binibili ng mga artists, imagine whole year, in a year, ilan yung oil paint na nabibili nila. So, kumpara sa computer, it is a lifelong purchase. Magagamit mo to anytime. Hindi ka na bumili ng kapag naubusan ka, problema mo, bibili ka ulit. Tsaka hindi lahat tayo ay may mga watercolors o may mga tools sa bahay na pangpinta. And with the help of computer is na nabibigyan tayo ng oportunidad na matutunan yung art kahit wala tayong tool with the help of computer. Next is convenience. Carrying around the necessary art materials to create as you'd like isn't always convenient. It's not always realistic to carry around a set up for a plein air painting or to fill up a water cup for watercolor. It can be a hassle. Yes, tama nga naman. Creating with a digital medium is relatively hassle-free. You can carry your device with you almost everywhere, and it's always ready when you are ready to create. Hindi naman anytime na dala-dala mo yung mga abubot mo sa pagpipinta, di ba? Kunyari may pinuntahan ka and hindi mo dala, din ang ganda ng scene doon. Edi nasasayangan ka kasi hindi mo maipinta. Hindi ka kunyari sa napuntahan mo is very relaxing. sobrang ganda ng mood para magpinta, pero ang problema is hindi mo dala yung mga tools mo to create an art. So ang hassle, 'di ba? Pero yung computer natin, yung laptops natin is dala-dala natin everywhere. Kahit saan tayo pumunta is dala-dala natin, and that convenience, dyan pumapasok yung convenience. Kasi kahit wala yung mga tools mo, kung meron yung laptop mo is you can create an art. Kahit saan ka man pumunta, kapag gusto mong gumawa ng art is pwede mong gamitin kasi dala-dala mo yung computer mo, which is mas magaan or mas isang isang hawakan lang yung computer kumpara sa mga tools mo for painting. Next is instant shareability. Because digital art creation is already stored on a digital device, it is easier for artists to share their work in its highest form. Work can be shared digitally on websites and through social media instantly. A photograph of painting doesn't usually do the physical features of the painting justice, but it can communicate the overall idea. Tama nga naman, instant shareability. Kahit nasan, kung gusto, yung mga artwork mo is naka-stored na agad-agad sa digital device mo. So kung gusto mo siyang ibenta anywhere around the world is one click lang is pwede mo nang ipadala yung work mo. Hindi gaya ng mga traditional art natin na it takes days or months to send your art sa mga buyers mo. Next is increased productivity. Creating digitally saves time. If you make a mistake on a digital drawing or painting, you can simply press the undo button to start over. In a digital creation, you can erase without a trace, change colors easily and position, and resize objects in seconds. You are not limited by the physical features of the world. So, increased productivity, it saves your time. Hindi mo na kailangan na, kunyari, nagkamali ka, so uulitin mo na naman. Unlike dito, meron tayong tinatawag na undo button. So, pag prines mo lang yon, then mawawala or ma-erase yung gusto mong tanggalin. Kasi sobrang hassle pag sa traditional art tayo. Kahit konting kamali mo lang doon is maaapektuhan lahat yung art piece mo. And dito din pumapasok yung forgiving. Forgiving in the sense na once you make a mistake, you can just do Ctrl Z or click the undo button and you can try again. Ito yung sinasabi ko kanina. Traditional art cannot be deleted like that. Everything you put on paper or canvas or wood will most likely stay there. Hindi gaya ng computer or yung digital art na meron tayong tinatawag na Ctrl Z. So, last is endless possibilities. It provides endless possibilities. Digital art can be explored endlessly. There are so many different kinds of brushes or functions that it would take you forever to try them all out. Digital arts can easily create things that traditional artists would never be able to do. Tama nga naman, dito sa digital art is more advanced. Mas marami kang brushes na pagpipilian, mas maraming colors, or mas maraming opportunity na makukuha mo kumpara sa traditional art. Hindi ko naman sinasabi na i-disregard natin yung traditional art natin. Ang pino-point out ko lang is mas nabibigyan tayo ng opportunity ng digital art kasi mas marami tayong access, mas maraming tools na pwedeng gamitin to make our art piece more creative and more beautiful.
Let's move on to the types of digital arts. So the first type of digital art is the fractal art. Fractal art is a form of algorithmic art created by calculating fractal objects and representing the calculation results as still images, animations, and media. So what does it mean by fractal? A fractal is a never-ending pattern. Fractals are infinitely complex patterns that are self-similar across different scales. They are created by repeating a small process over and over in an ongoing feedback loop. Driven by recursion, fractals are images of dynamic systems, the picture of chaos. Geometrically, they exist in between our familiar dimensions. Fractal patterns are extremely familiar since nature is full of fractals. For instance, trees, rivers, coastlines, mountains, clouds, seashells, and hurricanes. So the next one is the data moshing. Data moshing removes keyframes between two pictures, thus allowing the pixels to run together. So data moshing or data bending is a complex technique where the movement in one layer of video is applied to another layer to create a glitchy psychedelic result. For example, think of what it looks like when your Netflix stream is tracking and creates a ghost image transition. So yun yung example ng data motion. And I have also a video here that shows the example of data motion. Dynamic painting. Dynamic painting is a form of digital art where paintings are constantly being updated and changed. So dynamic painting is the evolution of static image. In other words, it is natural progression of classic art. The picture living its own life with objects moving and transforming but still following the original artist's concepts. None of the images repeat previous ones and will never repeat again. So what does it mean by dynamic in art? Dynamic means the picture changes when you change some input. A dynamic picture looks different in different situations. Next, 2D computer graphics. It is the computer-based generation of digital images, mostly from two-dimensional models, such as 2D geometric models, text, digital images, and by techniques specific to them. So 2D computer graphics are mainly used in applications were originally developed upon traditional painting and drawing technologies such as typography, cartography, technical drawing, advertising, etc. In those applications, the two-dimensional image is not just a representation of a real-world object, but an independent artifact with added semantic value. Two-dimensional models are therefore preferred because they give more direct control of the image than 3D computer graphics. So let us move on to the next type of digital arts, which is 3D computer graphics. So 3D computer graphics are graphics that use a three-dimensional representation of geometric data that is stored in the computer for the purposes of performing calculations and rendering 2D images. There are three basic phases of 3D computer graphics. The first one is the 3D modeling, the second one is the layout and animation, and the third one is the 3D rendering. So 3D computer graphics are works of graphic art that are created with the aid of digital computers and specialized 3D software. In general, the term may also refer to the process of creating such graphics or field of study of 3D computer graphic techniques and its related technology. 3D computer graphics are different from 2D graphics in that the computer, for the purpose of performing calculations and rendering 2D images. In general, the art of 3D modeling, which prepares geometric data for 3D computer graphics, is akin to sculpting or photography, while the art of 2D graphics is analogous to painting. However, 3D computer graphics relies on many of the same algorithms as 2D computer graphics. So, the first basic phases of 3D computer graphics is 3D modeling. The modeling stage could be described as shaping individual objects that are later used in the scene. There exists a number of modeling techniques, including but not limited to the following: constructive solid geometry, NURBS modeling, polygonal modeling, subdivision surfaces, and implicit surfaces. The next one is layout and animation. Layout and animation. Scene setup involves arranging virtual objects, lights, cameras, and other entities on a scene which will later be used to produce a still image or an animation. If used for animation, this phase usually makes use of a technique called key farming, which facilitates creation of complicated movement in the scene. With aid of key farming, instead of having to fix an object position, rotation, or scaling for each frame in an animation, one needs only to set up some keyframes between which states in every frame are interpolated. Next is the rendering. Rendering is the final process of creating the actual 2D image or animation from the prepared scene. This can be compared to taking a photo or filming the scene after the setup is finished in real life. The next type of digital arts is the pixel art. So what does pixel art mean? The term pixel is actually short for picture element. Pixel art is a form of digital level using a graphics editing software. What defines pixel art is its unique visual style where individual pixels serve as the building blocks that make up the image. The effect is a visual style very similar to that of mosaic art, cross stitch, and other types of embroidery techniques. So the next type of digital art is the digital photography. Photographs are digitalized and translated to the computer environment where the artist uses image editing and special effects software to perform darkroom type manipulation. Photography literally means painting with light. Digital photography is essentially the act of painting with light onto a digital sensor. It is essentially the same thing as traditional film photography, except for the fact that instead of having a piece of side film in the back of your camera, it's actually replaced with an electronic sensor that acts in a very similar way. Benefits of that include being able to the grain quality, ISO, and just being able to suck in more light as the technology gets better. Some other benefits of digital photography include instant gratification. You can immediately know where you went wrong instead of having to wait for the film to process and the print to make. So the next one is the vector drawing. This makes use of shapes which are outlined and can be filled with various colors and patterns. So vector artwork or vector graphics allow creatives to build works of art. Vector artwork is a term that describes any art made with vector illustration software like Adobe Illustrator. Vector artwork is built from vector graphics, which are images created with mathematical formulas. In comparison, raster art, also referred to as bitmaps or raster images, is created with colorized pixels. So the next one is photo painting. This combines the disciplines of photography and painting. Digital photo painting refers to the process of modifying the original photographic image. And next, integrated digital art. This is a technique of combining many images from varying sources into one image. So integrated digital art, this is the mixed media of the digital world. Artists combine any number of the techniques to achieve unique results. The digital environment is much as restricted than conventional mediums in this type of integration manipulations. So these are the digital art samples. First is the digital photography. Next, the example of digital photo manipulation and digital painting. Next is the website design, an example of 3D modeling. Next is the example of computer-generated images and animations. And the example of integrated digital art and algorithmic or fractal art. And that's all. Thank you for listening. Good day.